Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. I think I'm some kind of football prophet.
Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Comcast Business is celebrating the holidays by giving your business the $1,000 holiday bonus when you switch to a gig speed internet package. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 12, a new laptop for the office holiday hero. Or possibility number 108, smart speakers to deck those hallways. Or possibility number 192, new equipment for the new year. Or possibility number 555, Bluetooth holiday lights for office decor. Switch to Comcast Business, designed for 100% reliability with business internet and wireless connect, plus advanced cybersecurity, and now get the $1,000 holiday bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 12/14/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Requires qualifying gig package. Other restrictions apply.
It's the end of the year, and the holidays are finally here. It's tax break time at O'Mara GMC, and your new Sierra 2500 could qualify you for a major tax deduction.
Drive the truck you need and potentially write off a big portion of it at tax time.
Sierra 2500, just $685 a month. But don't wait. The tax deduction window is closing fast.
It's O'Mara GMC's holiday tax break. Ask for stock SF323923. Stop by O'Mara GMC on 104th or omeragmc.com.
Most business owners and decision makers work hard but stay frustrated because customers simply don't know they exist. Marketing isn't about being flashy. It's about making sure people understand how you solve their problem. Audio, video, and online campaigns put your message where your customers are already paying attention. And your friends at DenverSports, they specialize in connecting customers to businesses. The moment you get clear and show up consistently, growth follows. Don't stay the best kept secret in town. Visit DenverSports.com and click on the Advertise with Us button and start growing today.
Thinking about buying a home in Colorado? You're not the only one. And now might be your best shot. We're officially in a buyer's market, guys, which means you've got the upper hand. More homes on the market, competition is down, and serious deals are out there just waiting to be found. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to upgrade or downsize, now's the time to get pre-approved. And American Financing can make that happen in 24 hours or less. Interest rates are competitive, and home prices have been stable. That means you can find a great deal while locking in a monthly payment that fits your budget. Plus, with home equity building over time, your investment grows, making home ownership a smart, long-term financial decision. If you continue to pay rent, you're just paying your landlord's mortgage, and you don't need 20% down. You could be in your new home with as little as 3% down. Plus, they offer down payment assistance programs to make home ownership even easier. So call American Financing at 303-695-7000 or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
If you've been injured in Colorado, you want Wilhite. After an accident, you want Colorado's accident experts on your side, the Wilhite Law Firm. Get your free case review right now. Just call 303-GOOD-LAW today or visit WilhiteWins.com and win big with Wilhite.
Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find so many holiday essentials all for under $25. Don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight. Taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
And it is Denver Sports Tonight on this Thursday night in the Mile High City. He's Anilo Pirro. I'm Will Peterson. We will roll with you for the next hour. Broncos and Packers getting closer and closer. Learned some exciting news today that our guy Philip Lindsay will be honored as the Broncos legend of the game. It's going to hype up the crowd pregame. Should be great. 80,000 people just going nuts. Biggest Broncos game they've had at home in quite some time. And then they're going to double down and bring him on the field in the second quarter, do a video tribute as well. So super happy for Phil. Just chatted about it with him on the end of the drive. But Anil, obviously, he's one of our own. And even if he wasn't one of our own, this would be a big deal But honestly, it being our coworker does add extra spice to it for me. I've gotten to know Phil pretty well over the last 3 years. Great dude. What you hear is what you get. What you see is what you get. And, I just said it 10 minutes ago. I thought he got a raw deal here at the end of his time in Denver. And this is a cool moment for the organization to appreciate one of their best players during some down years.
Yeah, 100% will. And I had the opportunity to catch up with Phil as well and really kind of get to understand his backstory a little bit. Obviously, we know he's the Colorado kid, but, playing at Denver South and then what he did up at CU Boulder and, of course, with the Broncos and a couple other NFL franchises over the course of his professional career. But it's cool to hear that, like, one-on-one when there's not a microphone in front of you.
Sure.
Right? And, like, get, like, the raw thought and the raw emotion. And, look, I think you said it perfectly. What you see is what you get with Phillip Lindsay. Just a tremendous guy, obviously a great football player for the Denver Broncos, Buffaloes, a local legend to the fullest extent of the saying, and could not be happier for him. I'll be hopefully trailing around with him there on Sunday, so we'll have some social clips going up at Denver Sports 1043, so make sure to check us out on social media over there if you want to see the moments as well. But tip of the cap, or should I say a mile-high salute to Mr. Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah, no, very cool. I like that. A bunch of texters were asking him to do the mile-high salute on Sunday, so we'll see if we get it pre-game, see if we get it in the second quarter. But yeah, if you're going to trail Phil around, I mean, if anyone gives you any flack, security or otherwise, just say, hey, I'm with Phil. I'm with Phil.
We'll make it happen.
He's the man of the day. I'm with Phil. Should be fun. I don't think you're getting on the field in the second quarter, my friend.
No, not that, but the pregame
But
stuff.
the pregame, yeah. Second quarter, we'll catch your view from the press box when Phil and his family are down there on the field. Very excited for him. You can read more about it at DenverSports.com. All right, so Broncos and Packers creeps closer and closer, Anilo. And to me, the story of the day is actually not something that happened with the Broncos, but instead it's something that happened with the Packers, and that is Josh Jacobs did not practice again today in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur took the podium, gave a pretty vague answer about it, said, quote, he's been battling through it, we will see. And then I saw late this afternoon, Jacobs talked at his locker and was very non-committal about suiting up on Sunday for the Packers. They're in a dogfight just like Denver is for seeding over there in the AFC, so you got to know that Josh Jacobs' knee is really bothering him, and the numbers back it up. I mean, you realize he's 8-0 in his career against the Broncos?
Torched them.
He's 8-0. All with the Raiders, of course, but still, that's a hell of a record, and people are going to say, well, it doesn't matter because it was Raiders. Well, it does matter because he had 769 rushing yards, almost 100 a game, and 9 touchdowns in those 8 games. So Josh Jacobs has suddenly, and we'll get his game status tomorrow, we'll get his practice designation tomorrow, but Josh Jacobs has suddenly become a major story this week in Nilo because I don't think it's oversimplifying to say if he plays, the Broncos may lose. If he doesn't play, the Broncos may win.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Like, naturally, right, if Josh Jacobs doesn't play, you feel a lot better about the Broncos' chances. I mean, that's not rocket science, essentially, but, taking away the most consistent playmaker on offense for Jordan Love, he has good receivers as well, but Josh Jacobs is the guy that's going to really set the tone with the rushing attack, and you throw out the 8-0 record, the amount of touchdowns that he scored there as well. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. My guess is a game of this severity, the importance with the Packers and seeding and all that kind of stuff, I'd be shocked if Josh Jacobs doesn't play.
Yeah, but I just don't think the knee's cooperating was the vibe I got.
Fair.
Dante and I touched on it real briefly last night of the DNP, and we both said, but he's a vet. It's a DNP on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But for him to be a DNP, did not practice again today, plus the head coach not sound real confident, plus the player himself not sound real confident, I'm with you. It's a huge game. He wants to play, but this has gone beyond just rest to, the knee is there is something wrong with this man's knee. And they're not going to risk a playoff run for a game in December.
No, that's a good point. And like I said, if Josh Jacobs isn't out there, man, you got to feel really good about the Broncos' chances with that defense. And then it's really going to be up to Denver's offense to kind of get going, assuming Jacobs isn't out there. Like, let's say he's not playing and the Broncos are able to jump out to a 10-0, 14-0 lead in this game. By no sense of the word is it wraps or anything like that, but you're going to feel really good about the Broncos' chances to play a similar type of game as they did against the Raiders. I understand that, they didn't score a gazillion points and it was, a one-possession game there at the end after the flag from Brandon Jones and whatnot. But the Broncos absolutely dominated every single aspect of that game. And I think to take a look at that once again, that's the recipe for this Denver Broncos team moving forward, especially if they get the 1 seed, playing all these home games in the playoff. If you can control a game like they did against the Raiders, giddy up. We might be going to Santa Clara. And if Josh Jacobs isn't playing for Green Bay on Sunday, I think that sets up nicely for that script for Denver.
Yeah, and you mentioned controlling the game. That's what they did in Vegas. They chewed a bunch of clock on 3 different drives. Their defense was staying fresh on the sidelines while the Raiders' offense just helplessly sat on the bench. And just to take that one step further, and I think this is what you're getting at, if Jacobs doesn't play, the Packers become more and more one-dimensional. Yep. And what's a good way for time of possession to really jump into your favor? If they can only throw the football. Because every time it's incomplete, the clock stops. There's going to be a handful of 3-and-outs, hopefully 5 or 6 of them, if Jordan Love just has to drop back and throw 45 to 50 times. And who's the backup? Emmanuel Wilson or something, I believe, for the Packers.
Sounds about right, yeah.
I think it's Emmanuel Wilson. The fact we don't really know his name off the top of our heads kind of tells you everything you need to know. Not saying he's some bum by any stretch.
You are correct, Emmanuel Wilson.
It's Emmanuel Wilson. And that, to me, Anilo, you look at what Buffalo did to the Broncos in the playoffs last year, having the ball for 42 minutes while Denver had it for only 18. I think they established in the desert against the Raiders, this is a path to victory for us. I would love, especially if Jacobs is not out there, for the time of possession to be like 37 minutes to 23 minutes when it's all said and done.
Well, that's what it should be, right? And I'm curious to get your opinion on Jordan Love as a whole. I think he's been excellent this season for the Green Bay Packers, and I understand he has to go play in Minnesota once a year, have a pretty strong home field advantage, and I know it won't be freezing. It's actually going to be a gorgeous day, apparently, out there at Empower Field for this game on Sunday, but man, I'm in that press box just about every single game, man, and I can hear the fans through the thick glass that separates us from the open air. I mean, it is going to be a ruckus environment for Jordan Love to have to play in. And again, if you take away that top option, that steady Eddie running back, and Josh Jacobs, man, I mean, you got to love the Broncos' chances. Like you said, as you alluded to, you turn Jordan Love and this Green Bay Packers offense to a bit more dimensional, one-trick pony. And again, like you mentioned, Emmanuel Wilson isn't exactly a slouch or anything like that, but Josh Jacobs has established himself as one of the top 5 running backs in the league over the last handful of seasons. Would be a tremendous loss for Green Bay.
It absolutely would. Jordan Love 9th in passing right now, a little more than 3,000 yards, tied 5th with the 22 touchdowns, and he's only throwing 4 picks. We watched that Thanksgiving game against the Lions where Love was obviously excellent. A lot of people think that Stafford or May are battling for the MVP, which I believe they are. That said, Bill Barnwell came out with his list today, ESPN.com, of the 15 MVP candidates, and he had Jordan Love at 3. So, to your point, people are like, well, the MVP is either Stafford or May, and I get why people feel that way, but Love's going to get a handful of votes too. When the NFL honors are announced, very strong chance he will be a finalist for NFL MVP. That all said, this Broncos defense, if they don't have to worry as much about the run, then VJ can blitz when he feels comfortable, and we know VJ loves to blitz, but they can also drop 8 in coverage. And we talked a little last night about, so many weapons between Watson and Wicks and Dobbs and Golden, Jaden Reed as well. It's 5 I just reeled off right there, receivers that people will know, especially if they play fantasy football. But guess what? If Denver's dropping 8, Nick Bonito or Jonathan Cooper can still get home, and no one's going to be open, and Jordan Love may have a long day on Sunday afternoon.
Let me ask you a question. So one of the big themes on this station, you and I have talked about it as well, our coworkers have talked about it, the Broncos being the home underdog, right? It's essentially a field goal spread is what the odds makers in Vegas are throwing out there. If Josh Jacobs were to not play in this game, do you think the line flips, or do you think Denver's still going to be a slight dog in that game?
I don't know if it would flip completely, but yeah, it'd get
huge loss.
It'd get a lot closer to a pick'em by the time kickoff rolls around. Would be my gut. I think Josh Jacobs is worth 2 to 2.5 points. So yeah, the odds makers may say, all right, just pick a winner now that he's not out there, and it's one of those things where you always want to face the best. I get it, right? Like in a perfect world, Jacobs plays and he goes 15 carries for 41 yards, and you just kind of shut him down. But at the same time, you don't apologize for injuries in this league. We're never rooting for anyone to get hurt, but I'm not going to use it as a method to discredit the Broncos if Jacobs isn't out there on Sunday. And you bring up a good point with the odds makers. Will they flip the line? They very well could. The only thing that bothers me is I think this team does get a little disrespected, and if Jacobs doesn't play, I can already see the asterisk.
Oh, social media will be fun that
from
day.
A lot of people. Well, they didn't have Josh Jacobs.
Right. Well, and you know what's interesting is you bring up 15 carries for 40 yards as a hypothetical there for Josh Jacobs. I think the best running back they've faced this year is Saquon Barkley, right? In that Eagles game way back in the start of the season, Denver was 3-2 at that point. and they held Saquon to 6 carries for 30 yards. And I understand that Saquon isn't the same version as he was a season ago, but in respect to comparable game-changing type of running backs, the one test the Broncos have had with a running back of that caliber, they held him in check.
And that's also on the OC whose house got egged. I'm not condoning egging anyone's house for the record, but remember, we all came in on that Monday and we're like, Saquon got like 2 carries in the second half, and they were up 17-3. What in the world are they doing?
Something's wrong with Philly.
Yeah, so 6 carries for 30 yards. His stat line wasn't impressive. His fantasy day wasn't impressive, but that was also a product of he averaged 5 yards a carry, and the Eagles just didn't hand him the football. I don't think LaFleur and co. will make that same mistake. Now, on the Broncos side of things, Pat Bryant is a DNP today. Did not practice, second day in a row with a hammy. And, yeah, he's a rookie wide receiver, and he hasn't had a huge role, although that role has been increasing over the last month for sure. This one makes me nervous, Anilo, because, A, it means more Lil Jordan, which I know he's Sean's guy. He's not my guy. And then, B, I think the reason that Bryant and Franklin's snap counts have flipped is because Bryant's better in the running game, and he can block better. And I know folks out there going, what happened to Troy Franklin? He's not involved. Well, I think he's not involved because Sean watched enough tape and goes, this guy can't block in the run, plus the dropsies. If Bryant's out, you're going to get more Lil Jordan in your life, and Troy Franklin is instantly back to the number 2 wide receiver. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Obviously, we're all hoping Bryant can get on the practice field tomorrow, but it's not trending in the right direction.
What about a little bit more Marvin Mims?
I hope so. They've been allergic to Marvin Mims for whatever reason.
Which is strange, but I think Sean, I forget if it was Sunday or Monday on the conference call, was talking about how they want to try to get Marvin Mims a bit more involved in this offense. And I think that's been one of the biggest questions of this Denver Broncos offense. I think we loved what we've seen from R.J. Harvey over the last couple of games. You mentioned Pat Bryant's role continuing to emerge. The dropsies with Troy Franklin and Cortland Sutton is just kind of who he is at this point, right? But Marvin Mims is the guy that if we're looking for this offense to kind of take it to the next level, and we're talking playoffs and Super Bowl here, last year Marvin Mims was a dynamic force at times for this Broncos offense, and for whatever reason, he's just been kind of relegated to special teams specialist and gadget play specialist on offense. So, look, you don't want any injuries. You want Pat Bryant out there, but I do wonder if he's not, if that maybe forces the hand of Sean a little bit to get a little crafty with Marvin.
Yeah, no, I hope so. You're right. It would just be another player who's basically in front of Mims on the depth chart that, my mind immediately went to bigger Troy and a little more Lil Jordan, but I like your point there, too, that it could mean more Marvin as well. On the RamosLaw.com text line, Brian from Thornton says, we don't have our starting running back either. Very good point, Brian. Yes, the Broncos are going to be without J.K. Dobbins. Sean did make a weird comment last week. He could come back when the question was about Drew Sanders, which, by the way, no idea what's going on with Drew Sanders. I believe we were told 6 weeks in July. It's now December. But Sean pivoted to bring up on his own that J.K. Dobbins could be back. We had heard some reports of the Super Bowl would be the earliest option. I don't know. I think J.K. has made it abundantly clear he wants a ring. Some of his most famous quotes are, I've made the playoffs every year in my career, and I've never won the damn thing. So if he can get out there divisional round AFC title game, I think J.K. Dobbins is going to do everything in his power to make that happen. The 0025 points out Jonathan Taylor. Okay.
Yeah, great point.
Another good running back the Broncos have faced this year. And Taylor had a good afternoon that day. The whole Colts offense had a good afternoon.
165 yards off 25 carries. No tutties, though.
Yeah, but still, they just every time they got the ball, they moved up and down the field. That Week 2 game in Indy. 4278 says, bring back those Philip Lindsay cardboard cutouts that you see around town. Yeah, that'd be fun. Get some more Phil in our life. I know Zach had his big cardboard cutout over at the Aurora Golf Courses this summer. And, maybe some more Phil. If you missed it, Phil's getting to be the legend of the game on Sunday for Broncos and Packers, and then get a video tribute during the second quarter while he's on the field as well. Let me ask you this about Green Bay, too. Are they the best team in the NFC, or is that oversimplifying things?
Well, I think it's the Rams all day.
Okay.
If it's
with their loss to the Panthers.
Yeah, I think so, too. And that happens, to a certain extent. I mean, Tampa Bay just lost to the Saints last week.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay's a 500 team.
I agree, but I'll put my stock in the Rams. I'll put it that way. I love Stafford, Nakua, Devontae Adams. There's just something about that. I trust the quarterback more, and I think they have a better head coach as well.
But then let me take it another layer further. You like the Rams the best, I get it, but could the Packers beat the Rams in an NFC title game?
Sure, I could see it. I would personally pick the Rams, but would I be stunned, absolutely shocked if the Packers beat them in a playoff game? No. Packers are a very good team, solid.
And this could be a Super Bowl preview.
That was a question today or yesterday at practice we heard a couple of times.
Yeah, it could be a Super Bowl preview, Broncos and Packers. Outside of Jordan Love, let's talk about your guy, Micah Parsons. Both Sean and Bo gave him his flowers yesterday. Green Bay's defense, I don't know if they had many household names. Solid unit, but not a ton of household names. Micah Parsons, certainly a household name. Do you fear that he could wreck this football game on Sunday?
Micah Parsons could wreck any football game. That especially when he's 100% healthy. I mean, no one's 100% right now, but you know what I'm saying. Like he's relatively healthy for where we're at in this point in the season. And I thought Bo had a really good answer about that yesterday, where he's talking about we know he's going to make his plays. We just have to limit the amount of those plays that he makes and not allow him to wreck a game plan. And so it's going to be interesting because one of the things that makes Micah so difficult to defend is how he doesn't just play on one side of the line, right? He can go right, he can go left, down the middle, drop back, although he doesn't do that as much these days. He's one of the most dynamic defensive players in the NFL right now, and this is a really interesting test for this Broncos offensive line. I think Mike McGlinchey's going to get a lot of attention, right? Quinn Miners recently got the contract extension not so long ago. We know Garrett Bowles has been a mainstay on this offensive line as well. Limiting Micah Parsons is going to be absolutely critical, and I'm not telling anyone that something they don't know, but I am curious to see how much how much he's going to impact this game on Sunday.
Because but how do they do that? Like, do you believe in the double teams, if you will? Do you believe in the sixth offensive lineman? Like, say Ben Powers gets activated. The Broncos released Mercedes Lewis today. Likely procedural, going to end up back on the practice squad. But that said, at this very moment in time, they only have 52 on their 53. That, I'm doing the thinking emoji. That definitely makes you think, is Ben Powers going to get activated? If he does, he's obviously back in the lineup. And now Alex Palczewski is back to being your sixth offensive lineman. Do we see a lot of formations and packages from Sean Payton and this offense that are centered around finding a way to double team Micah Parsons? And is even that enough to quote unquote contain arguably the best edge rusher in the league? I know Myles Garrett's probably number one, but a guy like Parsons is right in that conversation with Nick Bonito as well.
Well, I'm sure Sean's got his bag of tricks that he'll dive into today to try to limit the effectiveness of Micah Parsons. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some double teams throughout the course of the game, but I also think one of the keys here to try to neutralize the pass rush of Micah Parsons is the quick pass plays. Right, the slants, the out routes. And the other thing that I think the Broncos have working for them against this Green Bay defense is Bo is arguably at his best when he's scrambling and throwing on the run.
True.
And so the fact that you have a guy in Bo that doesn't need to be a perfect pocket passer every single passing play and can scramble and make those improv type of plays, I actually think bodes well to try to neutralize Micah, because Micah might be coming around the corner. Bo takes a couple of steps. Oh, there's Cortland Sutton over the middle. Oh, here's Evan Ingram over the middle for a reception as well. So I think they'll have a proper game plan in place. I think it'll also come down to R.J. Harvey, right? We know that Jaleel McLaughlin isn't a blocking running back. Maybe some Tyler Bidet in there as well. Can the running backs do their job to provide Bo with that extra second or two to get the ball out?
Well, and what's interesting about that, too, is it's almost like use the Commanders' game plan that they used against you.
Precisely.
And implement it against the Packers, because Marcus Mariota only got sacked twice that entire game, and I thought Mariota could have gotten sacked 8 or 9 times. And Cliff Kingsbury, who a lot of people think is an offensive genius, drew up a game plan that neutralized the Broncos' edge rushers. And yeah, if this is the week you want to start seeing the deep ball from Bo again, after he dinked and dunked his way to 31 completions for a little more than 200 yards, which for the record I had no problem with. I'm cool with the term game manager, but if people want to see the deep ball this week, you probably got to wait another week. I don't think they're going to throw a lot of deep balls, because what do deep balls require? Time, not good when Micah Parsons is on the opposing defensive line.
And I completely agree with you, but to kind of go back to where we started this conversation, you know how you open up the deep ball? These long, sustained drives where, it's a gain of 5 here on the run, then a first down, and you almost suck the life and soul out of this Green Bay defense that's going to open up these deep shots. You keep them on the field for 5, 6, 7 minutes, stretches during the game. These cornerbacks are going to get tired. Micah Parsons is going to wear down. These linebackers are going to need a breather. And so if the Broncos are able to take the game plan that they did to a T against the Raiders, I think you'll see some opportunities for those deep passes to Sutton, Franklin, maybe even Marvin Mims open up throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, that would be huge. A couple explosive plays are going to be key, because even Sean Payton sort of said post-game, a lot depends on the opponent, guys, in terms of what we're going to show and what we're going to do. It was a pretty vanilla, pretty conservative game plan, because Sean's like, I'm not going to blow my best plays against the Raiders when I'm going to need them against the Packers and the Jaguars and the Chiefs and the Chargers and then the playoffs. And we mentioned a little bit of this with Jacobs, whether or not he plays. I mean, Green Bay's in a dogfight, Anilo. They're in an absolute dogfight. They're 9-3-1, currently the 2 seed in the NFC. Both the Rams and Seahawks are 10-3, but because they play in the same division, LA's the 1 seed, Seattle's the 5 seed. Philly's at 8-5, probably not going to catch anyone, and then the dog butt NFC South currently being led by the 7-6 Buccaneers, 7-6 Panthers lose the tiebreaker. My point is, Green Bay's probably not going to fall to the 3 seed, but they can absolutely still get to the 1 seed and make the playoffs, go through Lambeau Field, which, as we know, in January is quite literally a frozen piece of grass, frozen tundra, if you will, and that's going to be their easiest path to the Super Bowl, much like it's going to be Denver's. And that pesky tie, man, that pesky tie. You know, people always say, ties screw up the standings. Well, ties can really hurt you because you can't make it up as a win, but ties definitely can help you because they're not losses. So, for example, if both them and the Rams finish with 13 wins, but the Rams are 13-4 and the Packers are 13-3-1, doesn't take a math genius to figure out the number 1 seed is going to Green Bay. Ton on the line for the Packers this weekend at Empower Field.
Yeah, I mean, ton on the line for the Broncos, too. And the Patriots play before the Broncos, so obviously we'll see how that game shakes out. I know you had a great column online at DenverSports.com kind of detailing it wouldn't be the worst thing potentially if the Broncos were to drop the game, despite the fact that the 1 seed is the priority at all costs. But I'm not saying, if the Patriots lose, the Broncos are going to change their mindset. That is not the case whatsoever.
They may not even know the final score of that game.
I don't think
because
they
it kicks at 11, and, they may see a little bit of the first quarter on in the locker room, but come noon, they're locked in, warm-ups, here we go.
Right.
No one's going to know Patriots-Bills by the time the fans will all know, but
Right.
I'm saying no one on the field will know what happened in that football game.
Yeah, and I think, the Chicago Bears entering into last week were the 1 seed, and with their loss to the Packers last week, I think they fell to like the 6 or 7 seed.
They're the 7 now, and you pointed that out, Dante pointed out. I do want to give a couple texters as well. I do want to give, yes, the caveat that Green Bay's got a lot on the line because they could be the 1 seed, but also they've got a lot on the line because the Bears could still catch them in the NFC North.
So, I mean, it's a gauntlet for both of these teams, and essentially, I think the game probably matters a little bit more for the Packers, just with the way that you lay that out with the division, because you feel good about Denver's chances to win the AFC West and get at least one home playoff game, right? And so
you hope so. I mean, they're 2 up, but they're really 1 up because the Chargers hold the tiebreaker.
You would think, and so I'm just curious, man, because I think the last 2 games, right? I know it was a 1-score win against the Raiders. It was a great win. Then you go back on, what was that, Sunday Night Football against the Washington Commanders, a bit of an ugly win. This is a real gut check type of game for this Denver Broncos team, and I'm just fascinated. I think this is also the most difficult game remaining on the schedule for Denver.
That's an interesting one, too. We sort of ranked the importance of them last night with the big old star next to it that, hey, we don't know how important the Chargers game is going to be. If it's for the AFC West, of course it's the most important one, but just difficulty of opponent, you can definitely make a strong case this is their toughest test. Some people may argue Jacksonville, some people may argue the Chargers, but I don't think you're going to get a lot of pushback saying it's the Packers that are their toughest game left on the schedule. And 2, with Green Bay, if they come in here and win 31-10, all those idiots who are like, the Broncos are frauds, are going to feel validated.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the way this looks on Sunday matters. I hope they win. You hope they win. Everyone hopes they win. But I think a 23-20 loss is going to be a lot easier to stomach than a 31-10 loss, because the whole they're a fraud thing is going to come back and rear its ugly head if somehow, some way Green Bay comes in here and has their way with Denver.
And I just don't think that's going to be the case.
I don't either. I
think it's a close game one way or the other. I mean, my prediction, I won't be on the air until after the game at this point. I think the Broncos are going to win this thing by 3 points.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a Will Lutz walk-off type of field goal.
A 4th of this season.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
And I think it's Bo Nix gets the ball with 1:45, either tie game, down 1, whatever it might be. And I think you're going to see this Denver Broncos team, a team that I was skeptical on entering into the season. You were much more optimistic. You had them, 13-4? They might blow that out of the water if they win out the rest of this way,
yeah,
right?
If they go 15-2, I underestimated them.
I was not as optimistic as you were, but what I've seen from this team, and I thought Sean made a great point in his press conference, I want to say it was last week, about the continuity of this bunch, right? Not just on the field, but on the practice field, in the cafeteria, in the building, in the film sessions. We asked John Franklin Myers yesterday about this narrative of underdogs, this and that, and he said something along the lines of, the guys who are saying that don't know what we got in this building. And there's a very close-knit type of vibe with this team this season. I just think, the resiliency they've shown, it hasn't always been the prettiest of wins, but I think that's going to callous them moving forward because you're not going to be afraid of the pressure cooker because they've essentially been living in it for all of the season.
Right. No, they have been. And they've played a lot of games that cardiologists in Denver probably would not be real thrilled about. Only 3 non-stressful ones during this 10-game winning streak. Luckily, we did add a third last week against Vegas. That's what we were all asking for. I know the final score didn't reflect it, but that's what we got. I count that more as 24-7 than 24-17. All right, coming up next, let's take a peek around the rest of the NFL. Really start to get you ready for a huge Week 15 around the league.
Did the Broncos offense unlock a new fighting style in Las Vegas?
They were surgical with a scalpel, not a hatchet. There was not a single play that even went for 19 yards.
How smooth is that?
You know what yesterday's Broncos offense was? It was Floyd Mayweather. No knockout punches. And there they were with a 24-17 win.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and Sun Cruiser at Mile High Station on Sunday, December 14th from 12 to 2:25 p.m. for the Fan Football pregame show. Get in the game with orange and blue face painting and Sun Cruiser. Let the good times cruise all football season long. Catch Telestrator Tuesday weekly on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, where Stink or Stoke dive into the past weekend's games with a coach's eye, using insights into what went right and wrong on critical plays. Telestrator Tuesdays, powered by Colorado Credit Union. Love where you live, love where you bank.
Hey, get in. What? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Yeah. Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Castle Rock GMC has Hummers for the holidays. Drive electric power with attitude. With new 2026 Hummer EVs up to $18,750 off MSRP. Stock number SU120032. CastleRockGMC.com. We are professional grade. Up to $18,750 off MSRP on 2026 Hummer EVs. Stock SU120032. Hummer EV offer requires vehicle registration in Colorado. Colorado residency. And active Costco executive membership for at least 30 days. Offer subject to dealer availability, credit approval, taxes, title, and fees. See dealer for complete details.
The cold weather will be back. Brandon Stokely here from my team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Has another company told you that you need a new furnace? Time to throw in the challenge flag. Rocks Heating and Air offers no obligation, free second opinions. And don't forget about heat pump rebates. They've never been better. Up to $13,500 only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that G.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Hey Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. You know, in the game of life, our most valuable asset is our health. With the right equipment, you can train like a pro. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer. I have a true treadmill at home. It's the smoothest and quietest I've ever been on.
For the fitness fanatic on your Christmas list, save big this holiday season. At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
Hey guys, your boy Steve here today about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if you can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house, all cash, and you can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Dan Jacobs for 303 Law 4040, and I'm here with that beautiful voice you hear on the other end of the phone oftentimes when you call 303 Law 4040. It's my lovely wife, Kimberly. Kim, I know you and I had so much fun the other day. We actually met with a couple that had been in an accident up north in their house the other day, and Randy was so excited. He's like, I can't believe it. It's the lovely wife. She's right here in my kitchen.
He's too kind. It was really great to meet him and his wife and his pets and just be able to help them.
I think it helps that when you answer the phone, when people call 303 Law 4040, it makes things, I know calling a lawyer can be scary, but I don't know, your soothing voice just makes it a little bit easier.
Well, I just want to help. That's all. And I know how to do that.
I love the holidays. I always like to wish our listeners happy holidays. Would you like to do so as well?
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful new year.
And I hope you never need us, but just in case, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040. That's 303 Law 4040.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan's brought to you by Fitness Gallery, selling the world's finest fitness equipment.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
All right, so Sean Payton says the Broncos are not scoreboard watching, but we sure as heck are. It is a loaded Week 15 in the NFL. A lot of games that will have implications on the Broncos and the rest of the AFC. Let's go through this, Anilo, and let's start with Ravens and Bengals. Fascinating game on CBS. We all watched that Thanksgiving night. Joey B comes back. Cincinnati goes into Baltimore, emerges victorious, and people are thinking, uh-oh. Bengals are going to get to 9-8. They're going to win the AFC North. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a scary team no one wants to face. That looked like it could come true into the fourth quarter last week in Buffalo before it all fell apart for them in the snow. That said, they could still win the division at 8-9, which is kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but I don't trust the Steelers. The Ravens are 6-7. They can send Baltimore to 6-8. What are your thoughts on this game, and do you have a rooting interest for Broncos country?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I mean, if the Bengals were to get in, I think naturally you fear them in a playoff game more than Baltimore, just because Lamar Jackson has been healthy all season. I mean, there's something wrong with Baltimore, but I also just think that was a knockout punch from Buffalo last week. Like, I will be shocked. Like, maybe they win the game against Baltimore this weekend, but you'd expect the Ravens to give, their best punch. Their season kind of on the line right now as well to a certain extent. Kind of got robbed at the end of that game against Pittsburgh with the no touchdown call as well. So, look, I understand, where the Bengals are at. I love Joe Burrow. I love Jamar Chase. That's a fun team to watch, but I just think this is a Ravens game all the way.
Okay, but here's where I will play devil's advocate. I'm cheering for Cincinnati, and you want to know why?
Tell me.
Because I don't want Baltimore to remember they're Baltimore when the playoffs roll around. Remember that they have John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and let's say they're somehow the 7 and Denver's the 2. I don't want to see them here, especially with their history coming into Denver, what they did to us in 2012, still the most painful sports loss of my entire life. Like, I don't want any part of the Ravens in the dance. So that's why I'm cheering for Cincinnati, because I think if Cincy wins, Pittsburgh's going to win that division at like 9-8. And then guess what? If you're the 1 seed and Pittsburgh's the 4, and all the home teams win wild card weekend and the bracket holds, you've got the Steelers and old man Aaron Rodgers here in the divisional round. So for that reason, my friend, I'm rooting for Cincy because I want Cincy and Baltimore both out of the playoffs, and I want the Steelers to win the AFC North.
Yeah, former almost Denver Bronco quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, think about that.
That was a big thing back in the day, which feels like, not back in the day, but a few years ago now, which crazy how long ago that was.
Kind of feels like back in the day in some senses.
It does.
Yeah.
No, I think you make a good point, though.
All right, let's look at Chargers and Chiefs, another massive game at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. We're getting to the big one here in a second. Everyone knows what that is. But Chargers and Chiefs, man, this is tricky. There's two sides to this. It feels like Colts Chiefs a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Chargers and Chiefs, do you pull for the Chargers because you just want KC to be done, dead. There is actually a scenario where the Chiefs can be officially eliminated, not just hypothetically, officially eliminated from the playoffs. Now, they need to lose, and like 3 other results have to happen. Houston's got to win, Indy's got to win, Jacksonville's got to win, etc. But Chargers are lurking. And if the Chiefs win on Sunday, you pretty much have the AFC West locked up. Not mathematically, but pretty much have it locked up. Therefore, I'm going to do it again, just like I did a few weeks ago. I cheered for the Chiefs against the Colts. I'm cheering for the Chiefs this weekend against the Chargers. Make sure that AFC West is ours. I think if LA gets one more loss, it almost assuredly is.
Yeah, I think this goes both ways, and I think, almost regardless of the outcome, the Bronco fan will be happy in some type of way, because if the Chargers win the game, you mentioned it, the Chiefs are essentially down and out, which was a major talking point during the Broncos-Chiefs game, and then Colts-Chiefs, of course. And I think the reason why I'd actually be okay with the Chiefs winning the game, one, because I don't think the Chiefs are doing anything this season. They just look like they need a bit of a refresh or reset in the offseason. But the Chargers don't really have an easy game on their schedule, and I understand the Broncos don't either, but after they play Kansas City, they got to go to at Dallas. Mm-hmm. Cowboys are a decent team this year. That offense can light it up. Then they play at home against Houston, who's an upper echelon defense. C.J. Stroud is balling out. And then, of course, they finish the season here in Denver against the Broncos. So I could see a loss on the Chargers schedule beyond this game against Kansas City.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that'll be a big one. Either way, the result's going to benefit the Broncos somehow. People are going to spin it however they want. If the Chargers win, people are going to say, woohoo, the Chiefs are dead. If the Chiefs win, they'll say, woohoo, we're going to win the AFC West. So either way, Broncos country is going to find a way to be happy about that result. Up next, this is the big dog, the Bills and the Patriots in Foxborough. We don't need to spend a ton of time on this because we are all Bills Mafia this weekend. It would be absolutely massive if they can knock off the Patriots. And oh, by the way, if they do, they're only a game back in the AFC East, so they may not be dead in their division yet either. If New England remembers they're New England and a young team and kind of falls off, even with a bit of a weaker schedule down the stretch. But there's no question about it. We want the 1 seed. We want 2 games at Mile High to go to the Super Bowl. Go Bills, beat the Patriots in New England, please.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. No notes. I'm sure there's some Northern Colorado folk that are Wyoming Cowboys fans as well, so maybe a little rooting interest for them too. And, we're talking about the Ravens. We're talking about the Bengals. Obviously, the Bills and the Patriots. Like, you and I have gone back and forth on this for what feels like a month right now. Once it became a real possibility, it is 1 seed over everything. And you detailed that perfectly in your column at DenverSports.com about, the Broncos, if they drop a game, what happens, this, that, the other. I mean, at the end of the day, the Broncos have to go all gas, no brakes to get that number 1 seed in the AFC. And thankfully, by virtue of the tiebreaker, if them and the Patriots, just like you mentioned with the Rams and the Packers, finish with the same record, the Broncos get the nod there. But go Bills, go.
Yeah, and just it gives you a little breathing room if New England drops a game. You just want breathing room. You don't want to feel like you have to be 15-2. 3-1 over these next 4 would be good. All right, then 2 bonus ones here that are just kind of good if they happen. No one's predicting it, but good if they happen. If the Jets somehow beat the Jaguars, that would be good for Denver. It eliminates Jacksonville more or less from the 1 seed. They're only at 4 losses. If they come into your house and win in 9 days, 10 days, whenever that game is, Jacksonville. Yes, Jacksonville. I get it. Not on a lot of people's radar. They could creep into the number 1 seed conversation. So go Jets. Not going to happen most likely, but you never know. And then Cardinals-Texans, same deal. Broncos do hold the tiebreaker with Houston, so it's not as big of a deal. But good AFC team versus bad NFC team. I'm always going to root for the bad NFC team. And then we flash forward to the Colts and the Seahawks, 2:25 on Sunday.
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, maybe the most interesting game outside of Broncos-Packers in the league. I'm bummed it's on at the same time because I'd love to see the Phillip Rivers experiment. Indy's no longer a huge threat to Denver, even with the tiebreaker because they're 3 back in the loss column. But that said, man, this is one that we're definitely going to watch the highlights once the Broncos are wrapped up because, it feels very Coltsy to bring in 44-year-old Phillip Rivers to try to save their season.
I got to give you credit. You called it. We were talking about this in our text thread on, I forget what day it was, sometime earlier this week, and you're like, watch, they're going to sign like a Phillip Rivers type. And in my head, I was like, there's no way. Like, this guy just signed the ceremonial contract to retire as a Charger. He's about to go into the Hall of Fame potentially. And lo and behold, I don't know what kind of crystal ball you got at your house, Will, but you called it.
I did. I appreciate you giving me credit. Yeah, I think I texted you guys that around noon. I said they're going to do something wacky, and I think I threw out Rivers. Matt Ryan was the name I threw out, and then one other. I can't remember who, but I wish I'd tweeted it. Would have gotten some more credit.
Sam Ehlinger?
Yeah, hit on that a hair last night. It kind of broke right when Dante and I were getting on the air, and we read his quotes that he gave to Parker Gabriel of the Denver Post, talking about loves this situation, loves Sean Payton, and here, if he stays, he's more of a mystery, right? Whereas there were some reports that he could have gone and been the Colts starting QB. Well, if you go to Indy and you're trash in these final 3 games, then there's no longer any mystery. You may not get a job. So I think Sam Ehlinger's pulling hey, what they don't know, they can't hold against me.
Fair.
And maybe this will prolong his career in the league, if you will.
Well, I think Phil made a good point on the drive yesterday. I don't think Jared Stidham – I think Jared Stidham wants another crack at trying to be a starting quarterback in this league, not saying that will or will not happen, but take a team like Indy. Daniel Jones is going to be on the mend. Hopefully he's going to be ready to start next season after the devastating Achilles injury, but Stidham's a guy that might be able to get an opportunity to start one day or, compete for a starting job in training camp, that maybe Sam Ehlinger's sitting back and saying, okay, if Stidham does this, I'm the backup quarterback to Bo Nix. I want to be in Sean Payton's system, and let's see how it plays out there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, that if Stiddy goes somewhere else and makes rookie QBs buy him bottles of wine in his new stop, then he could get elevated from the 3 to the 2, him being Sam Ehlinger. All right, last game of the week, Dolphins-Steelers, Monday Night Football. Another interesting one, because all of a sudden Miami's 6-7. I mean, they're going to have to win out. They're going to have to get to 10-7. They're going to have to get some help. But Dolphins look dead. They're somehow still in this thing. And then Steelers, I think the team that I made clear about 7 minutes ago that I want to win the AFC North. So I am pulling for the Steelers in this game. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'm with you there, too. I think of the AFC teams that are likely to make the playoffs, you feel most confident about playing the Steelers potentially in that home playoff game. I mean, Rodgers is it's sad. That's my era, my generation of quarterback. He looks terrible out there. And I understand they won the game last week against Baltimore, but, Tomlin seems like his worn out his welcome there a little bit too. I know they got TJ Watt and their defense.
Although he's in the hospital. Did you see that scary thing? Lung issue in the hospital with TJ Watt today. So we're thinking of him. Apparently it happened during treatment too, which it's you don't know what kind of treatment they were doing, that he had a lung condition. He had to be rushed to the hospital. So that's another question mark. Mike Tomlin, very unclear TJ Watt's status for the Dolphins game. And obviously we just want TJ Watt's lungs to be okay more than anything else. But another wrinkle to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. But again, to go back to your point, I think you laid it out perfectly. A Pittsburgh Steelers matchup for the Broncos in the first home game, assuming they do get that bye, you feel really good about their chances to win that one.
Yeah, and Zach's done a great job laying out all the Super Bowl 50 parallels. Who did they beat in the divisional round to win Super Bowl 50? The Pittsburgh Steelers here in Denver. Took down Ben Roethlisberger in that one. All right, Nuggets, big game tonight. Avalanche, big game tonight. We will preview both next.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan at Blue Sports Stable in Superior for our Denver Sports Equipment Drive, benefiting Recruiting Classroom. We're taking donations of new or gently used sports equipment through December 20th. Head to denversports.com/equipment for a list of drop-off locations and most needed items. And help us spread some cheer this holiday season.
Protect your home and auto by bundling them with Progressive, and you'll have a little less to worry about. But we know you'll find other things to worry about. Like that text you just got from your boss. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Oh, hey, call me when you get a sec. Yeah, this is bad. Oh, well, at least you protected your home and auto with Progressive, so you don't have to worry about that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wow, Leslie, your fireplace really sucks.
I beg your pardon?
Well, what I mean is your fireplace is literally sucking all the air out of your house and right up the chimney every time you burn it.
Well, what can I do about it?
Well, you could get a high-efficiency gas insert from Cozy Heat. It keeps all the air you already pay the utility company to heat, and it returns up to 80% of the fire's heat back into your house.
I'd use my fireplace every chance I get if I could do that. Maybe my furnace wouldn't need to run so much.
Well, that's the whole point. Hi, this is Keith Lair with Lair Fireplace and Patio, along with my niece Leslie, to tell you how a gas insert from Cozy Heat will give you the incentive to use your fireplace again. Cozy Heat gas fireplaces and inserts are made to crank out the heat with beauty and style.
Lair's is Denver's oldest, most trusted name in fireplaces. Family owned and operated since 1954.
We'll even give you a free in-home quote, including expert installation by our own certified in-house installers.
Find us on the web at lairfireplacepatio.com.
For top quality Cozy Heat fireplaces and inserts, it's Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's fireplace experts.
Guys, thanks for helping me carry my Christmas tree.
Zoe, this thing weighs a ton.
Drewski, lift with your legs, man.
Santa! Did you get my letter?
He's talking to you, Bridges.
I'm not that.
Of course he did. Right, Santa?
You know, my elf Drewski here, he handles the nice list.
An elf? I'm 6'3". What everyone wants is iPhone 17. And at T-Mobile, you can get it on them. That center stage front camera is amazing for group selfies. Right, Mrs. Claus?
I'm Mrs. Claus's much younger sister. And at T-Mobile, there's no trade-in needed when you switch, so you can keep your old phone.
Or give it as a gift.
And the best part? You can make the switch to T-Mobile from your phone in just 15 minutes.
Guys, my side of the tree is slipping.
Timber!
The holidays are better at T-Mobile. Switch in just 15 minutes and get iPhone 17 on us with no trade-in needed. With 24 monthly bill credits for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Finance agreement 256 gigs, $830. Eligible port in a new line. $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Check out in 15 minutes or less per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Imagine almost every jewelry legend all under one roof.
Roberto Coin, Marco Biccigo, Ippolita, Paul Morelli, Mickey Moto, Tacori, Hearts on Fire, and dozens more, all in one store.
Imagine a diamond bar with almost every size, shape, and price range GIA diamonds.
And a Swiss watch center with all the great marks, including Longines and the legendary Tudor. I'm Dylan.
I'm Shayna Williams, inviting you to Williams Jewelers of Inglewood.
We've built one of the largest jewelry stores in America with one vision.
To be the only jeweler you will ever need.
For that perfect diamond engagement ring.
The ultimate holiday gift.
Or just because you deserve it. Williams Jewelers of Inglewood at the corner of Broadway and Bellevue.
Now, imagine their face Christmas morning.
This holiday, come to Williams Jewelers.
Where Colorado shines.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
The official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche. Williams Jewelers, where Colorado shines.
Men, it's the holidays, a time of love and joy. But if you suffer from erectile dysfunction, the season can be tough on you. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you and your partner are experiencing struggles because of ED, change it up this year. Give the best gift you can give to the one you love by treating your ED and restoring your relationship. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we're experts in treating ED, and as a Promedic restorative health practice, we've literally seen countless thousands of relationships renewed across the nation. Plus, with treatments having success rates well over 90%, coupled with many treatment options, we can likely find the right one for you. You may even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us and give your partner the best gift you can give this season, a renewed, restored relationship. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan brought to you by Flanagan Law.
Joel Klatt, the nation's leading voice in college football, joins Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth every Wednesday morning. Presented by Groove Toyota. Here we go! Tune in at 8:10 for exclusive insight, bold analysis, and maybe just a hint of shenanigans. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
All right, some great texts coming in. Joe says, I don't think it's even a question. You got to root for the Chiefs this weekend. Even if they win out, they have less than 0.5% chance of making the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Chargers remain a real threat for a division win. Great text, Joe. The Chiefs are actually at 11% to make the playoffs if they win out, but I understand what you're saying. The AFC West is the priority, and the Chiefs beating the Chargers would help the Broncos in that cause. The 6484 says, why is everybody afraid of Lamar in the playoffs? It's good text. You know, Lamar's never been to the Super Bowl. I think Ravens fans are growing a little impatient, but he's lost 5 playoff games in his career. 3 of those in the divisional round, 1 in an AFC title game, 1 in the wild card round. He's lost to some good teams, particularly the last 3 years. The 3 teams he's lost to, the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. Lost a conference title game to the Chiefs. They, of course, went to the Super Bowl. And then lost last year in the divisional round to the Bills, who should have gone to the Super Bowl, but then they went to Arrowhead and Josh Allen got a first down, and the ref said, no, that's actually not a first down. So I don't want to see the Ravens because it's not like Lamar has choked against really bad teams. Last 3 years, Anilo, he's lost to the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Bills, the class of the AFC every single time. My point was I don't want Baltimore to remember, oh, yeah, we're pretty good at this football thing, and then come here to Denver for a divisional round or even a wild card round.
I think that's fair, and that's always going to be a looming fear if you were to match up against Baltimore. You alluded to the haunty memories back there with the first Peyton Manning season, which ended in heartbreak. I just think, I don't think Lamar's healthy. That's the other thing is, I would naturally be, you laid it out. You'd rather play the Steelers than the Ravens, right? But I think losing to the class of the AFC the last handful of seasons as they have Buffalo, Kansas City, whatever it might be, all valid points that you make. I just think Lamar Jackson is maybe 75%. He just hasn't looked himself this year at all.
So what you're saying is you're not scared of the Ravens, not because they can't be good, but more you just think the guy's injured.
Yeah, that's where I'm
at. That's fair.
And something just seems off about, people were saying fire Tomlin, and I understand, Baltimore's probably in a better position than Pittsburgh is. It seems like Harbaugh's kind of, I don't want to say worn out his welcome, but a down year for a guy that I used to consider a solidified top 5 head coach in the NFL. I'm not sure he's in that category no more.
Yeah, maybe it's run its course.
They should swap. Put Tomlin in Baltimore and Harbaugh in Pittsburgh.
Tomlin for Harbaugh trade. That would be kind of fun. All right, 2 big games tonight. Nuggets and Kings. Big may be the wrong word. It just feels big to me because they haven't played in forever.
A long time.
And then they have another big break after this. It's like one game in 8 or 9 days for them because of this silly NBA Cup that the Nuggets are no longer involved in.
You're not an NBA Cup guy?
Nope, not a cup guy.
Well, that's what we got Jake Shapiro for.
Well, he does it facetiously, sarcastically. He's not a cup guy either. But point being, the reason I called it a big game, Nuggets and Kings tonight, is because they're only game in 8 days. Whenever you have this long a break, if you're only going to play one time, you want to get a dub. Against a Sacramento team you've already seen a couple times this season. Russell Westbrook, we've already seen him come back to Denver twice. I believe the Kings are beat up. I don't think Sabonis is playing tonight. I'm not sure about DeRozan. This is a game Nuggets should be fresh. They've won 10 in a row on the road. I actually feel better about this game being in Sacramento given their recent struggles at home. I'm looking for a nice little Nuggets blowout this evening. I think that'd be good for them in their only contest for a big stretch of time here.
Yeah, it could be a Russ revenge game. Sabonis is out, and their 2 best player, the other guy, Zach LaVine, has also been ruled out for this game.
It's LaVine who I was thinking of, my bad.
Yeah, but Sabonis is also out right now. And Dennis Schroeder is also out.
But how many times can Russ get his revenge?
No,
Isn't that how we
I
build
know,
the other ones as Russ revenge game? But that
Russ
said,
is just Russ,
Yeah, he is. Russ is Russ.
Guys named Russ in this town.
Russell W's in this town don't really work out. That being said, do you agree with me that the Nuggets just need to handle business tonight? No excuses with fresh legs.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I still understand they're down Christian Brown and they're down Aaron Gordon for the time being. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to a return, but still on the horizon for those guys. But I mean, yeah, Nikola Jokic rested, ready to go. Jamal Murray's playing the best basketball, to start a season of his career right now. I think Peyton Watson has looked pretty good, taking a step so far this season as well. This should be a steady Nuggets victory. But knowing them, with their defense and this and that, I'm sure the Kings will go up double digits at some point, and Jokic will play in the fourth quarter and bail them out.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the Nuggets will tip off 8:05, 8:10, something like that, and the Avalanche are on ESPN at 7:30, but we all know what that means, more like 7:50. ESPN's carrying Flyers and Golden Knights right now. We've learned our lessons with these networks, especially when it comes to hockey. Do not trust puck drop times. They're always 20 minutes later than advertised. So, come 10 o'clock tonight, hopefully one of these 2 games is a blowout on the right side so we can all focus on the other one. But it is fun for Nuggets and Avs fans that, yes, if you're a late night kind of guy like I am, 10 o'clock tonight, you're going to be bouncing around between the 2 games, and it's Avs-Panthers. And the Panthers have played a little better of late. They're kind of down this season, but they're the back-to-back Cup champions. 3 of the last 4 Cups won in this league have been between the 2 teams that will square off at Ball Arena this evening.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome game, and I'm looking forward to watching that one. One of those, duality. You got one TV, or go to your local sports bar if you want to watch both the Nuggets and the Avalanche. I want to throw something out there with you. I talked about this with our guy Richie Carney on the Rundown today. Sneaky. I know the Avalanche have been dominant this season, just 2 regulation losses, but they're only 2 points up on Dallas.
Which is insane.
It is crazy.
It's a 2-horse race for the President's Trophy, and they're both in the Central Division. And because of Gary Bettman's asinine playoff scheduling, they're going to have to play each other in round 2 when that should be a Western Conference final, if not a Stanley Cup final. I understand what conferences, that's difficult. But, yeah, you're right, man. Every point counts. And for a team that's this hot, it shouldn't feel that way. But because of Dallas, every point does count. Plus, honoring the 96 Cup champions tonight.
Sir.
Who's your favorite player on the 96 team, Anila?
I think it's always going to be Joe Sakic.
It's got to be Super Joe, right?
Yeah, I mean.
Peter Forsberg, a lot of people say
That's
him. Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
Yui Krupp had the game winner in triple overtime. Yeah. Mike Ricci, what a character. Good memories, but glad to see those guys get honored tonight. But I'm with you. It's Super Joe all the way for me. Good to see those guys back in town. They were at the Paramount Theater last night. They'll be at Ball Arena tonight. 2 big games. Hope for 2 dubs. For Dante and Anilo, I'm Will. It's DST on the Fan.
Has R.J. Harvey proven he's ready to carry the torch for J.K. Dobbins?
It was a big-time performance, man, and it gave me great hope that R.J. Harvey can be the answer to that question that we have had is who's going to replace Dobbins. I thought he took a huge step forward.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Brandon Stokely here from my friends at Roller Auction. Do you have items you're looking to sell? Since 1976, Roller Auction has been conducting commercial and industrial auctions for Colorado government agencies, Fortune 500 companies, small business owners, secured creditors, individuals,